This video is brought to you by Gamer Subs. Use code MHB at checkout for 10% off your next order. With Deadpool 3 being the first movie in a long time I've been excited to go see in theaters, I've been in a bit of a superhero mood lately when it comes to gaming, so I figured now would be the best time to platinum some superhero based video games. Well, the one somewhat related to the merc with the mouth at least, and that's why we're here today. Today we're going to platinum what is, in my opinion, the perfect example of a bad movie turned quality video game, and that is X-Men Origins Wolverine. Origins as a movie was such a letdown for many reasons, especially for someone who loves the X-Men IP. Seriously, this is my favorite Marvel property along with Spider-Man. But where Origins really dropped the ball was mainly because, what the hell did they do to Deadpool? This was Deadpool's first movie appearance, played by Ryan Reynolds no less, and this is what they did to him? The merc with the mouth can't speak and looks like a freshly shaved sack. It was terrible. Not all bad, but very disappointing. And yet, even though the game follows the same sort of events with some added extras, the game somehow manages to be the perfect game for Wolverine. He perfectly fits the hack and slash genre. They make him feel powerful, but not too powerful with his regen ability, and this game is filled with blood and guts. They did not shy away from how brutal facing Wolverine should be, and I love it. Or at least, that's what I remember. It was developed by Raven Software though, who know a thing or two about making great games, so I do have high hopes my 12-year-old brain isn't lying to me, but there's only one way to find out. Thankfully, I held on to my PS3 copy after all these years because this game isn't cheap. So I dusted off the old PS3 once more, and it was time to grab the Platinum Trophy. As always, if you do end up enjoying the content, be sure to like the video, comment below some more platinums you'd like to see me tackle next, subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos, and go over to twitch.tv/MayorHairBear where we streamed this entire platinum journey live. Now, step 1 is probably the most annoying step in this platinum journey. Okay, maybe not that bad, but you know, step 1 is usually just play the game and have fun. However, here it's the classic story of needing to play through the game once before you can unlock the hardest difficulty, which we need for a trophy. So forcing 2 playthroughs, which I'm not a fan of, but we also need to pick up all 95 dog tags in the game. I'm never a big fan of collectibles, but the problem with them here is the fact that they do track the total, but if you miss some, there's no way to know where you missed them, as they don't tell you in the chapter select. So basically, this playthrough mainly consisted of me just scouring a collectible guide to make sure I don't miss any, because there'd be nothing worse than missing one collectible by the end. I know. Fun stuff. Thankfully, the game is still a good time to play. As you can assume, Origins follows the same plot as the film it's based on. Shocker, I know, and this sees us begin our journey in Africa. This is a time-jumping story, so we'll go back and forth between Team X's final mission in Africa, searching for what is alluded to be adamantium, and the present where Wolverine, who was living a normal life, gets captured by members of his old team, infused with his adamantium skeleton, and after escaping goes on a revenge mission to take out those responsible. But back to Africa, where we get our tutorial, learning the basics of how this game plays, which is a pretty basic hack and slash with light and heavy claw attacks, a lunge and regenerating health system that makes this game pretty hard to die in, except for falling to our death or some boss BS we'll get to later. Now, while there are no story-based trophies for this level, we did manage to unlock a few trophies in the early stages for doing things like getting 6 enemies airborne at once. Aerial Master. There we go, we get our first trophy. Not really sure what that's for, but lunged at 25 enemies. We'll be using this ability a lot. And they made the quest like, oh, lunge, that's 25 enemies already. Cool. Found this random hatch while grabbing a nearby collectible. How do we get in? Oh, found. You don't get in there. You just look at it. I was like, I feel like there's a trophy we can get here for a hatch or something. Dope. And killed 100 enemies. Hey, getting started. That, I think, is for 100 enemies, right? Yes, the kill count goes up that quickly. But just like that, we completed our first level, and it's time to head back to the present where our brother Sabretooth has tracked us down for a good old brotherly scrap. This is a pretty easy fight, like most of the bosses, honestly, but we do grab another 2 trophies here for performing our first counter. Defensive. I performed 1 counter move. I feel like I've done that before. And of course for defeating our brother. I was gonna say, I've heard a trophy pop, but I am not seeing a trophy. But even though we won the battle, we didn't actually win the fight. Sabretooth kills our wife, and Stryker offers us a chance to get our revenge by infusing us with our iconic adamantium skeleton. Wolverine overhears Stryker wanting him dead for some reason. Seems odd to want to kill him now after making him even more of a tank, and now it's time for us to escape from the Weapon X facility and try to take out Stryker, Sabretooth, and really anyone who gets in our way. As we make our escape through the facility, we do snag a few trophies, such as the encounter with our first Wendigo, one of the many mini-bosses in the game, lunging onto their back. Piggyback ride. Lunged onto 100 enemies. Hey, there we go. And reflected a rocket because we're just that badass. I was gonna say, this seems like a good place to catch. To crash. And of course, escape. Because who the hell is stopping Wolverine? So we try to shoot. Spillway escape. Hey, let's go. We're in double digits. Well, I mean partially escape. The facility? Hell yeah, but we still have a bit of a trek to get to freedom, and standing in our way is plenty of blood bags and Nord who need to go. Sort of the same old story here, not much to talk about story-wise, but we were still getting plenty of trophies, like for killing 500 enemies. Well, I don't think... Hey, a day's work. That's 500 enemies. Countering 25 attacks. Second one. Oh, untouchable. Tore apart 100 enemies, which seems random as they all look like piles of goo by the end of the fight. Slaughterhouse. And, well, had to call it for the night because the game crashed on me loading a cutscene. I feel like it's tried to do a cutscene. Oh, for fuck's sake, man. This game is... is this supposed to be a cutscene? Because that's when it seems to crash. This isn't an unstable game by any means, but boy does this game struggle transitioning from gameplay to cutscenes, as you'll see for some trophies. Anyway, new day, new stream, and back at it we went for some more trophies, like for taking out 10 enemies with the environment. Hey, environmentally friendly, we got our first trophy. Lunging at 250 enemies. I told you, it's a damn good ability. That is gonna be rough. Hey, you can't hide. Found a nice Easter egg while hunting collectibles. Oh, this is, okay, it's a World of Warcraft reference. I was like, what the hell is this? Wow. All leading to the climax of the escape, where we could grab an optional trophy for fighting all 4 of the Wendigo on this rooftop at once. Not gonna lie, this wasn't too difficult bar a few hairy moments. I'm stuck. I cannot move. This seems highly unfair. You guys. But for some reason, this trophy copied the platinum image, which I thought was weird. Yeah, there is. Ultimate Wolverine. Let's fucking go. Not that many. And defeated Nord, who's been a nuisance this whole level by taking out some choppers and finally escaping the lake. Just like superhuman games, basically. Helicopter ride. Now we need to hunt down one of our ex-teammates, John Wraith, which takes us to a secret government facility who are developing Sentinel robots, aka mutant hunting robots, for those who don't know much about X-Men. But why are we here? Well, Wraith is locked up at this facility, and with the help of Raven, we need to bust him out. This chapter goes back and forth a lot between Africa and the Sentinel facility, so if you see trophies popping in different places, that's why. Again, Africa is sort of just a good change of scenery and enemies more than actually anything too story heavy. But back to those trophies, and in this chapter we grabbed quite a lot for using our latest ability called Quick Kill, pretty self-explanatory as to what it does, and using it 3 times in a row. Quick Killer. Farm these. Oh, perfect killer. 20! Let's go. We managed to find half the dog tags in the game. I'll touch on these more later, trust me. Please, please, please tell me I've done this right. This trophy delaying. Oh, thank God. Astonishing. Alright, we're on track. That means we are, right now, as of this moment, we have gotten all of the dog tags we can. Quick killed 20 enemies all up, because, I mean, why not? Hey, efficient killer. Killed 10 enemies from falling. Hey, drop dead it was. Found a cake, which feels like a Portal reference, but Portal had only just come out, so I don't know. Alright, this should be a trophy here, because we got cake. The cake! Raised a type of upgrade called mutagens to level 3, which are basically upgrades you find in the levels, and they increase certain stats from health all the way to how much XP you can earn. What happened last stream? The issue isn't really like it crashed, but I was planning on playing like another half an hour, 45-ish. I've jinxed it, dude. Fuck you. And I got a trophy! Oh, thank God. Okay. Mutant Lover. Jesus Christ, man. And killing 30 enemies with the environment. Whatever it takes. I knew there was one. We'd be getting that soon. We end up finding and freeing Wraith, but before we can go to our next pit stop, we need to take out this Sentinel, which is a pretty big drag, honestly. It's not really a big threat to us in terms of our health, and just takes so long to take out, leading to a freefall section that I cannot stand because I'm bad. But not bad enough to miss flying through an O-ring. That's what you're looking for, really. Oh, for f***'s sake, could you just, again, threading the needle. Somehow we did something as I'm getting hit by everything. Okay, that was an accident, but we'll take it. And finally, the Sentinel Mark 1 was taken care of. I would have been livid. Fallen Sentinel. There we go. We got 15 trophies this stream. It's pretty good. But back to Wraith, who leads us to another former team member, Fred Jukes, or the Blob, which, whilst a tanky fight, isn't particularly difficult to best him and get some information. Gears E-Day. Put up your jukes. Fred tells us about the island, a place where Creed and Stryker put their captured mutants, and where we can find the sole escapee of said island, Gambit. Catching up with Gambit, he pretty fairly doesn't trust us and gives us the old slip away, so we need to find him and, of course, do what we do best. Well, for another 10 minutes at least before I ended the stream, which actually saw us get one last trophy for the night for killing 200 enemies while using feral sensors. Just think of the Arkham games detective mode. These kills. Hey, heightened senses. Day 3 was upon us and it was time to finish this game because remember, this was just playthrough number 1. I still had to do this all over again on the hardest difficulty. We made our way through New Orleans trying to catch up to Gambit to finally face off, and after my first attempt broke on me, we did eventually take him out. You gonna attack me or are you just gonna be a little puss? Come on, don't glitch out on me now. Like, I know what I'm supposed to do because it's pretty fucking obvious, but like, he's not shooting at me, I can't deflect. 52 pickup. Well, not really, but we won the fight and he reveals the location of the island to finish all this. Well, actually, we first need to conclude the Africa portion in which we got our 50th kill with the Berserk ability, which you'll see a lot of in the next playthrough, trust me. Hey, Bloodlust, that's 50 Berserker kills, I'm pretty sure. But we get to see how everything went wrong for the team, which saw the village slaughtered for their resources. Pretty damn bleak, man. My taxable income. Okay, is that gonna... There we go. The village! But with us all caught up, it's time to take out Striker and Sabretooth. Before we can go full Kratos on their ass though, it's here we learn our wife wasn't actually killed. In fact, she's a mutant with the power of persuasion. And it was with her death, Striker had Wolverine right where he wanted, as all he wanted was that sweet DNA to make Weapon 11. Logan's Weapon X, but this is better. Time to introduce Deadpool. And yeah, this is just this film encapsulated. Anyway, Wade Wilson is Weapon 11, and they've been incorporating all of the team's DNA to make for one super mutant killing soldier. This all hurts our boy Wolvie, so he agrees to have his memory wiped before taking out still some scum individuals until Sabretooth goes too far and it's time for a rematch, which is even more pathetic than the first fight. And now we're at the final fight against Deadpool. This is by far the most difficult fight in the game, which isn't really saying much, and it's also mostly because of the third phase. You see, in this third phase, Deadpool can take out the floor underneath you, and if you fall, you need to start again at phase 2. I'll show you why this is so annoying. Oh, don't do it to me, for fuck's sake. The frame rate just goes to 0 when that happens. Oh fuck, that scared me though. I mean, how am I supposed to avoid that? Dude just fucking went, I know you're standing here. I haven't slow-moed it or anything, just... What is this fight, man? Sake. Yeah! Yes, that's how I feel. No. Oh, fuck you. I was so close. But we did finally overcome this BS, and with Deadpool taken care of, we unlocked the final trophy of this playthrough, as well as wrapped a few things up. We did it! Fucking hell. The Deadpool. I'm gonna have to censor that one. Like letting Sabretooth live, our wife killing Striker with her persuasion, and us being left on a beach with no memory of any of this. Yeah, it's not the best ending, but hey, that's X-Men Origins Wolverine, which is still a really fun game about a mid at best movie. But hang on, what about those 95 dog tags? Wasn't there a trophy for that? Well, my keen-eyed viewer, there was a trophy for such a feat, and I ended the game with 94 out of 95 dog tags. I know, exactly what I was dreading, but I did have a silver lining, because I picked up on it at the end of my second stream, and in that stream, I collected 47 dog tags right on schedule. So I at least had a window of where the hell this last dog tag was. The issue was that there's 30 dog tags between the halfway point and where I ended stream, and again, whilst there is chapter and level select, it doesn't say where exactly the last dog tag is. So I tried searching some places I had died and may have forgotten to pick up the dog tag again, and this happened on the third place I looked. We found it straight away! Let's go! Devil's Brigade. I'm like, I guarantee it's in a dumb spot where I'd like died near the start. So thankfully, that was a pretty painless and quick process, letting us move on to step 2, the cleanup. Before we started the game again, because all our stats reset, we basically needed to get every other trophy unlocked before starting, and in the beginning, this was pretty easy. Doing things like loading up the bonus stages and lunging at Wolverine. Oh, that was it. James Howlett. Killed 6 enemies with 1 attack. 1 as well. Oh, it was. Slice and dice. Killed 150 enemies with Berserker mode on. Hey, Weapon X. Killed 200 enemies with the claw spin. No. Hey, there we go. We got Blender. Lit 20 enemies on fire. It did work! Hot potato! Went back to the first fight with Sabretooth and impaled him. There we go. Stick around. Destroyed everything in the store while fighting the Blob. Hey, there we go. Clean up on all aisles. Killed 25 ghosts or invisible enemies with their own weapon. Hey, shotgun epic fail. There we go. Killed 25 enemies with reflected rockets. Give me my trophy. Boomerang. And performed 10 air grabs. Oh, no. Justin just got it, I reckon. That snagged one. Before getting to what is probably the most annoying part of this game. We needed to max each enemy type's reflexes. Basically, kill enough enemies of certain categories to get rewards to make them easier to fight. A cool reward, no doubt, but this takes way too long to do and is incredibly boring to boot. What you have to do to make this go by as quickly as possible is to farm certain checkpoints of enemies, return to the main menu, and restart the checkpoint. That's it. Do it over and over again until they hit level 3 and move on to the next one. This took me a good 4 to 5 hours to clean up, and without chat to keep my brain turning to mush, I'd have been lost, but thankfully we raised one of the 4 reflexes to rank 3 pretty early on. There we go, Apprentice. So that's our first one. Killed 2,000 enemies total in the process. Hey, what I do best, so that's for 2,000 kills. And after a few too many grueling hours of grinding, ranked up all reflexes, and hit level 39 to purchase all available upgrades. Samurai, hopefully. There we go, fully loaded. Now, all that was left was step 3, hard mode. So we needed to restart the game, resetting all our stats, and playing through the entire game again on hard. And this was actually surprisingly easy. Don't get me wrong, we had a lot of close calls on this playthrough, and moments of intense bicep workouts due to a dodgy PS3 controller. I'm getting it over my head, I feel like I'm getting it. But with the lunge and berserker ability, plus Wolverine's insane health pool, we only died a couple of times the whole playthrough. That was until we got to Deadpool once again. Yeah, this fight's still frustrating on hard because again, that laser attack is some serious BS. But even this only took us a few attempts to get right, and with Deadpool defeated again, the platinum for X-Men Origins Wolverine was finally mine. He lasered me off, you man. Oh, why did you go to that one thing, man? Oh, come on. Yes! Oh, sake. Do not crash on me, please, man. Okay, well, please pop. Pop up, please. There we go. 50, Walking Dead, Platinum, let's go! Holy crap, man, that was stressful for no reason. So, after about 25 hours in total, would have been a lot less if I could have started on hard, but anyway. What did I think of X-Men Origins, Wolverine's Platinum, and the game in general? As always, let's start with the game itself, because it's still so impressive how good this game is for its genre. Not the hack and slash genre, I'm talking about movie-based video games. How they made a terrible Wolverine movie into a fun game, I'm not 100% sure, but this is what a Wolverine game should be. It's a cliche for superhero games, but I'm telling you, this game makes you feel like Wolverine. Yes, it's a pretty easy game, and outside of one-shot kills, you'll rarely die. But man, it makes you feel unstoppable as you hack and slash your way through thousands of enemies. It's pretty damn gory to boot, which I love for the character. It's no masterpiece of a video game as it still follows a terrible movie, but it's a damn good time as a game, no question. The Platinum, on the other hand, that has some problems. I never like forcing 2 playthroughs, especially in this case when hard isn't really that difficult, meaning this could have been a one and done type of deal. The collectibles not tracking is a problem that is an absolute pain, meaning your first playthrough, you're left scouring a damn guide to hope you don't miss any, and the reflex farming is straight padding, especially since once you're done with that, you need to reset all your stats anyway. A lot of this Platinum is a good time, same as the game, but the big trophies are all a pain that without streaming and having some chat back and forth, I would have honestly lost it. So it's one of those tales where I do recommend, if you've never played the game, to check it out if you find it for a good price, because this is some top tier Wolverine action. But Platinum wise, It's not my favorite, I can't lie. But with X-Men Origins Wolverine in the books, I think next week it's time we tackle a game that truly represents the merc with the mouth properly. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far into the video, make sure to leave a comment with bone claws to let me know that you made it to the end. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to leave it a like because it helps let me know that you enjoyed yourself. Comment below some more games you want to see get platinum next, as well as answering what's your favorite movie tie-in game. Thank you as always to my channel members for that extra level of support, and special thanks to those in the Bear Club: G&T Puppy, Jackie White, Nugget, Darkwolf, Daniel Fitzgerald, Scott Unwin, Steel Vanguard, NPO Crusader, Nef, and Lug Knights. It really does mean a lot to me. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, go give my socials a follow if you fancy, at MayorHairBear. Join the Discord server to have a chat. Go and chuck me a follow on Twitch if you want to see most of these platinum journeys live, or MayorHairBear VODs if those pesky time zones don't line up for you. And I'll catch you all in the next video.